Earthlock Festival of Magic came out several years ago by a studio from Norway, I think, called Snow Castle Games. And, well, it's pretty much like many indie RPGs out there, kind of inspired by the retro style 16-bit era, but it looks totally different. What happens in this game is that, well, there's two main characters, the guy and the girl, Ive and Amon. I think that's the guy's name. And then there's this little hog bunny rabbit creature called Nart. Let me try my best to explain what the game is about, because it's just one thing after the other, you know. When you start thinking, oh, it's about this girl Ive, you know, she's the daughter of a general of an army or whatever, you know, and she takes a plane without permission with her magical dog, and she crashes it, and then she's on a quest to stop a possible political war, because someone's about to betray her father. I think that's it. But then she meets... Then we jump to Amon, you know, and the hog bunny. You know, Amon is trying to rescue his uncle, who has been kidnapped by this evil organization after some relics that he found in some ruins. And then the hog bunny joins because it's gonna be the end of the world. And what I'm trying to say is that the game has this extremely forgettable story because there's barely any focus on it. So as you can see, the graphics look, well, for an indie RPG, and I think this was a Kickstarter, they look pretty damn decent. You know, they don't look exactly retro. It looks a little bit more like a PlayStation 2 game. And this is a game that is full of puzzles and full of, you know, dungeons like this. But what bothers me the most about the dungeon design in this game is how bland they are. They look good, they look interesting, sure, you know, the graphics and the visuals are fine. I have no problem with that. Biggest problem is that they repeat the same puzzles over and over again, the same elemental puzzle, like click this wreath, and you can play as any character, and each character controls a little bit differently. You know, the hog bunny can, you know, make himself smaller and go below certain spaces, and Amon is the one that solves these puzzles, you know, with the elemental puzzles. But unfortunately, these are the same puzzles that you encounter on almost every single dungeon and even some of the areas. What I'm trying to say is that the puzzles at the beginning of the game were kind of interesting because you needed to click this red elemental device and then go gather this blue elemental light to activate the blue elemental device and so on. But this puzzle that I just described repeats over and over and over again. Like most indie RPG developers, I think they put a lot more focus and effort on certain other areas. And in other areas, you know, they just left them completely bare bones, and that's how it feels. You know, this is the battle system, so check this out. And there you have, I have 4 party members right now, and they can change stances. For example, Amon, who you see right there, is kind of like a thief guy, and he can use the thief stance, which allows him to use, you know, knife attacks or steal items from enemies. And there, his other stance is when he gets this blaster, this gun, this sort of like a shotgun to shoot, you know, magic bullets at the enemies. Okay, and the other characters have their own features, like the hog bunny, for example, an art, the little rabbit right there. He is a buffer and also a healer. But he cannot use those skills at the same time. Either you use the stance with the buffs, and if you want to use the healing buffs or the healing spells, you need to change stance, and you waste one turn. You guys spend one turn in this game. And you know what the biggest problem with the combat is? The combat is one of the best things about this game, but it's also one of the fucking worst, man, and I'll explain why. As you can see right here, any enemy whatsoever, they have a lot of turns. Sometimes if you get the first strike, if you ambush the enemy, you know, your 4 characters act first, and then they do whatever, and then an enemy attacks you, and then, well, all the enemies attack you, right? It's the enemy's turn, and then it's Amon's turn. But instead of repeating, you know, instead of being your 4 party members again, no, it's like Amon, and then the enemy, and then another enemy, and then the rabbit, and then another enemy, and then another enemy that already acted before. It's like, what's up with that? And it's annoying because it only makes the battles unnecessarily long. Here's the thing about grinding in this game, because this game, this indie RPG is fucking brutal. This is Shin Megami Tensei Earthlock or worse. And there's no easy mode, no hard mode, no nothing. You're just stuck with the difficulty the developer set up for you. Getting a single level, getting experience in this game is a pain in the ass. You take forever to gain experience. And the only way to get a remotely decent amount of experience Here you go, let me show you. As you can see, I'm running away from those guys, right? I'm gonna pause the gameplay. I'm running away from these monsters, you can see them. Why am I running away from them? Because I wanna drag them or lure them towards the ones in the north. You know? There, but I ran out of time. Let me rewind that. Did you notice a timer? Look at the bottom left corner of the screen and there's a timer as soon as I approach the enemies. And they notice me. Check it out, it says 3 seconds. So if in 3 seconds, let me pause it again, if in 3 seconds you do not reach the other group of enemies, you know, you end up fighting those 2 or 3 enemies. And you're probably wondering, you know, why am I trying to do this? Because the more enemies you fight, this is one of those games, the more enemies you fight, the more experience you get. But in this game, if you fight 2 or 3 enemies, you get like nothing of experience. So you need to do like 20 battles to gain 1 level. And in this game, which is extremely hard, I'll show some boss battles in a bit. You know, that is honestly a pain in the ass. Most of the initial bosses, the first, I don't know, 2-3 major bosses of the game are manageable. Eventually you hit a huge difficulty spike. You get these types of boss fights like pretty early in the game. You fight them and you're not underpowered or underleveled. You know, you're at the right level and the boss obliterates you, because bosses in this game are far worse than the enemies when abusing the turn order. What does that mean? That your character gets 1 turn, the boss gets 3 in a fucking row, man. So the idea of this game is to use buffs and debuffs. You know, for example, this guy uses fire elemental magic. So what you need to do is use the dog, the monster there, attack called Elemental Howl, to that's exactly what I'm doing to up the magic defense. It doesn't work a lot because, as you can see, it's beating the crap out of me with physical attacks. And there's another character you get at this point of the game, a little robot. But, you know, he uses the same, but with defense. Instead of increasing your resistance, he increases your defense, your physical defense. But it doesn't have like a spell like the dog that does it for the whole party. No, you need to do this individually. And there's another spell the dog has, which is called Elemental Absorb. And you use it individually. So you need to spend 4 turns and apply this spell to every character, you know, to absorb the fire, while this asshole just beats the crap out of you in no time. So here we go. This is the whatever Guardian. Even Nard tells you, we can do this. And if we don't make it, we may need a different strategy. My ass. I read like several tips online, you know, on the internet, on forums, and they all give you the same tips or similar tips. All of them, I used them and I still couldn't beat this motherfucker. I'm using magic defense up because this Guardian dude uses, you know, earth magic against me, electro magic, and lightning magic. He's shocking my characters and leaving them with status effects, and there's no item to cure that, or no buff, or, you know, to cure that from the party. What you need to do to remove the shock status is to hit your party members with an attack. Why would you make me waste an attack when every freaking action in this boss battle is crucial to winning? You know, obviously I'm using my girl and my guy to do battle, and this is where he does energy harness. Did you notice that? It was pretty quick. I'm going to rewind it so you can see that again. Check out this energy harness bullshit he does. It's a massive attack that does massive damage to your allies. And he almost killed me. So I'm using my fire trap right now because the guy is kind of weak to fire magic, and the energy harness, and look at my HP. Fuck, man, he killed the dog. Holy shit, I mean, there's just no time to buff your party, and there's just no time to heal your party. Because you need 1 character for the buffs and 1 character for the healing. And as you can see, you get this boost status. Right below here, you know, you're not like that all the time. You know, you need to get points. There's a blue bar you can see below the character portraits in the upper left corner of the screen. You can see the blue bar needs to fill up so you can do this. Okay, so the rabbit has a spell that heals the whole party. You watch that, but he needs to be in a boost status to use that. Otherwise, he just heals every party member individually. Like, holy shit, man. As you can see right here, you know, each character has different types of abilities. Okay, you can assign only those abilities to each button. You only have 4 attack buttons, so you will need to choose only 1. For this character, I have Fire Blast Plus, Spot Blast Plus, Ice Blast, Mark Target, which reduces the defense against ranged attacks for the enemy, right? And each character is the same. So that this part is fine. That's okay. You know, I want to show you this how you gain. This is the skill tree. So it's controlled by cards, and each card, you know, is like a status. As you can see right there, this card that I have selected is called Resilience. So it increases magic defense plus 12, speed plus 6, and defense plus 3. And you need TP, you need points. You know, whenever you level up, you get 1 point, and you can assign 1 card. But if you want to change one of these cards, one of the magic cards, I don't know, for Resilience, for example, for another card, like I'm doing right now, I'm gonna change Resilience or something else for something different. There. There's armor, there's magic, might, precision, and resilience. So I'm gonna choose another resilience, you know, to increase the magic defense against that boss that just destroyed me, the one you saw. You don't need any talent points for that. So that's useful. Yes, it increases the status, but does it reduce the difficulty? No. Does it help your strategy? Does it improve anything at all? You know, it just doesn't. I mean, you saw. You can, you know, do whatever you want with these cards, and they're limited, you know, they're not forever. It's not like I can just increase everyone's magic attack, everyone's magic resistance to maximum, you know, for this particular boss battle, so the boss doesn't destroy me with his energy harness attack. No, I can't do that. God damn it, man. So there's this little small farming simulation. I want you guys to take a look at it, because you need you need to farm plants and water them to get items that you need to create ammo. How do you pronounce it? I think it's ammo. And to create potions, because potions in this game suck balls. They barely heal you, and oh my god, getting potions here, it fucking sucks, man. You rely almost 80% of the time on the healing spells of the freaking rabbit, or Ive. Ive has a first aid spell, but it's only activated and you can only use it, you know, when she's boosted. I already explained that. So there, you choose water plants that you plant in this little garden of yours. You plant them all, and you get 3 whatever. So what you do with this next, you know, you can do this forever, you know, so you don't run out of ammo. Which is cool. I mean, that's this feature, what I'm trying to say, it's kind of broken, but you think, you know, because it's broken, you will get a lot of, I don't know, usefulness out of it, you know, but not really. If you're gonna make a game, this is my advice. I know some of you are more about the gameplay nowadays than the story, apparently. So if you don't care about the story and characters, and you want your really hardcore challenging game, I do recommend this one. But if you're looking to get a reward out of the enormous difficulty this game offers, you're not gonna get it. You know, the story, music, everything except the combat, everything outside of that difficulty spectrum, you know, it's just mediocre at best, and it doesn't give me anything. So Earthlock, Festival of Magic, and by the way, there's a second game coming, because the developers Snowcastle Games created this to be a trilogy. It is planned as a trilogy, so we got 2 more games to come. There's a second game coming, and obviously I'm not gonna get it, because if it's gonna be like this, if the story is gonna be like okay, if the characters are gonna be kind of forgettable, if the music is gonna be, again, maybe not my style, I guess, then I'm not gonna play it. So that's it. That's my review of Earthlock, Festival of Magic, Unscripted and Uncensored. Thanks for watching, everybody, and that's it. I'll see you next time.